It was a cold October night in the Sierra Nevada mountains, the kind of night when the wind howled through the pines like a wolf hunting for prey. Tom Marshall, a 35-year-old firefighter from Reno, Nevada, was no stranger to danger. But this time, danger had taken on a new form, a treacherous rock face where one wrong move meant certain death. Tom had grown up watching his father, a legendary firefighter, save lives. From an early age, he wanted to be just like him, saving people from the clutches of nature's fury. By the time he was 25, he was a rising star in the firefighting community, known for his bravery and quick thinking. But 10 years of battling flames, running into collapsing buildings, and pulling survivors from wreckage had left scars. Not just physical ones, but deep mental wounds. His once unshakable confidence had started to crack. He was haunted by memories of people he couldn't save, faces of those lost in the fires. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw them. Slowly, anxiety started to creep into his life, affecting his performance at work and pushing away his loved ones. Then came the accident. Tom had been out on a routine rescue mission when a building collapsed. He managed to pull a family out, but his best friend and colleague, Sam, was killed in the rubble. The guilt consumed Tom. If only he had seen it coming. If only he had warned Sam to step back. Depression settled in, and Tom found himself questioning everything. Was he really a hero? Or was he just a man too reckless for his own good? With his mental health in a downward spiral, Tom left the firefighting force. He isolated himself from his family and friends, unable to face the world. His life had lost its purpose. That was until he received a letter from Sam's wife, Laura. "Tom," the letter began, "I know you blame yourself for what happened to Sam, but it wasn't your fault. I also know you're struggling, but Sam admired you more than anyone else. He always said you were the bravest man he knew. He would want you to keep going. Don't let the fire burn you out. Fight it." The words struck him like lightning. For the first time in months, Tom felt a flicker of hope. Maybe there was a way back. He had spent his whole life running into danger, but now the real battle was inside him. Laura's letter came with a suggestion: a wilderness retreat in the Sierra Nevada mountains for people dealing with trauma. It wasn't about therapy sessions or talking about feelings. Instead, it involved surviving in the wild, facing physical challenges, and reconnecting with the world around you. Tom, desperate to find a way forward, signed up. The retreat was led by a former Navy SEAL named Jake, who had his own demons but had found solace in nature's harsh embrace. Jake's philosophy was simple. You can't run from your problems. You have to face them, even if that means staring down a 100-foot cliff. On the third day of the retreat, Jake led Tom and a small group of others to the base of an imposing rock face. It was their challenge for the day, a climb to the summit. The wind was fierce that afternoon, whipping through the canyon, making the climb even more treacherous. But Tom wasn't afraid of heights. He was afraid of failing again. He hadn't been able to save Sam. What if he couldn't even save himself? Jake noticed Tom's hesitation and walked over. "I've seen your type before," Jake said. "You're not afraid of this rock. You're afraid of what's inside you. The only way through it is to keep climbing." Tom took a deep breath and began his ascent. At first, the climb was manageable, his training as a firefighter helping him navigate the rock's sharp edges. But as he climbed higher, his mind started to play tricks on him. He could hear Sam's voice calling from below. He could see the faces of those he couldn't save. He froze halfway up, paralyzed by guilt and fear. "Focus!" Jake yelled from below. "What are you fighting for?" Tom squeezed his eyes shut. What was he fighting for? He had spent so long running from his pain, he'd forgotten why he even fought in the first place. But in that moment, he remembered. He fought for his family. He fought for those who believed in him. He fought for people like Sam, who had trusted him with their lives. With renewed determination, Tom kept climbing, each handhold bringing him closer to the top and farther from his inner demons. His muscles ached, and the wind tried to knock him off course, but he pushed through. Finally, after what felt like hours, he reached the summit. He stood there, looking out over the vast expanse of mountains, feeling the cold wind on his face. It wasn't victory he felt. It was redemption. For the first time in months, Tom felt like he could breathe again. He wasn't just a man haunted by his past. He was a survivor, a fighter, someone who could keep going, even when everything seemed lost. Jake clapped him on the back as he reached the top. "Told you it wasn't the rock you were afraid of." Tom smiled, the weight of his guilt lifting just a little. He had made it, not just to the top of the mountain, but through the storm inside his mind. He still had a long way to go, but he had taken the first step. And sometimes, that's all you need. As Tom descended from the mountain that day, he knew he wouldn't be returning to the same life. He wouldn't be a firefighter anymore, but he would continue to save lives, starting with his own.